I'm sure you've heard a lot about AI, artificial intelligence, right? I mean, it's the buzzword. It's all around town. It's on the news. The stocks are going crazy. I bought a little stock. Robots, are robots going to take over? I hope not. I hope not. But technology is increasing, and it's increasing, gosh, almost to the speed of light, right? Every day we see some kind of new technology or new gizmo. It can be scary, but it can be exciting. I mean, technology can help you do your job better. If you listen to my podcast or a new listener, go back and listen to the one that I talked about. Appraisers should run their offices like Chick-fil-A, right? If you go through Chick-fil-A, they utilize two things to increase their business model and to run 30 cars through that drive-through very efficiently. In other words, when you get through it, you get your food, your order's right, it's hot, it's good, and it's quick. 10 minutes is all it took for me to go all the way around the building, wait in a line of about 30 cars, and this is how they do it. They have more than one person working. They have a team of individuals. You can increase your efficiency by including helpers. Another thing you can do to be more productive is embrace and utilize technology. That's two things that will make you more efficient as a practicing appraiser. I have a great guest for you in this program. We're going to talk about technology, a little bit of AI, and some exciting new things. So don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it. Hi, this is Bryan Reynolds. You're listening to the Appraisal Update Podcast, brought to you as always by the great folks over at Appraiser eLearning. You need some education? Check us out at APPRAISERELearning.com. We've got virtual classes about every week, and we, of course, have our online library, and the road shows have even come back. So look for a road show in a city near you. If you'd like for us to come to a city near you, reach out to one of the team members at Appraiser eLearning, and maybe we can put that on our roadmap for an upcoming road show. We'd love to see you. I'd like to thank my sponsor, LIA Administrators and Insurance, for your continued support of the Appraisal Update Podcast. And without further delay, I'd like to introduce my guest for the day, Mr. Tony Pistilli. Welcome, Tony. How are you?
Hi, Brian. I'm doing well. Thank you.
So, Tony,
great to be here with you.
I appreciate you taking the time out to join me today. Tony and we've bumped into each other, gosh, all across the country for many, many years. I know you and I were on a panel, gosh, a long time ago at the Appraisal Summit with Bryan and Matt McHale, and boy, that was a spirited debate. That was fun. And that seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? That was a long time ago.
Absolutely.
But in case there is anyone on the planet that doesn't know who Mr. Tony Pistilli is, I'd like for you to take a few minutes, Tony, to talk about your background a little bit and let my listeners know a little bit about Mr. Tony.
Sure. Well, thank you again, Brian. It's a pleasure to be your guest. I am an appraiser and started out quite by accident, just like many other appraisers. Had a landscaping company, and it didn't work out. First life lesson: don't do business with a friend. And my mom was working at the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and she said, the guy upstairs seems pretty nice, and they do something with appraisals. And the next thing I know, it's 30 plus years later, and had a very happy and enriched career of real estate appraising. So been very blessed to be a part of this industry, and it's just been a fun ride. So,
yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, you can relate to the appraiser out there in the field. You are an appraiser. Your background is as an appraiser, and I know you've had various roles over your career. Tell us a little bit about where you're at now and what that company is.
Yeah, because of my background, I feel especially blessed to have the job that I do today. It's really a combination, Brian, of incorporating all the principles and methodologies of appraisal and in technology and using technology to make appraisers and the appraisal process even stronger. So it's cutting edge technology. Sometimes, as you said, it's a little bit scary, but I'm really excited about it and looking forward to seeing this get into the everyday work practice of appraisers.
Yeah. So Respi is the name of the company. If you guys want to check out their website, it's respi.ai. This is what it looks like. And in a summary, Tony, tell us, what is Respi? What do they do?
Respi is a computer vision company. Computer vision falls within the realm of AI. So computer vision is at a very high level. If you take a picture and you can see within that picture, just like the one you have up on the screen here, all those orange rectangles are what we call tags. So you see a countertop, you see a floor, you see a patio door, you see a refrigerator. The computer vision can see those things in the photo as well. And the applications that in valuation are just now starting to unfold. And I think it's going to be something that's really exciting for appraisers to embrace.
Yeah. So talk about how this works, right? I mean, one of the things you said right before we got on the program was Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac kind of looking at appraisers. Are these really comparable? And I know Danny called me one time. He said, "Hey, you need to do a podcast." And I pulled over and was taking notes. He said, "We've got an appraisal right now where the appraiser did a drive-by and said, I'm basing my opinion of the interior on what I see from the outside, which is not good enough, right? You need to take steps to try to verify what's on the inside." And he said, "Bryan, I went to the public, to Google or whatever it was, maybe it was an MLS, but he pulled up readily, quickly data and images of the interior of that house. He said there were holes in the floor and holes in the wall, and this quick he was able to get that." So one of the things you were talking about is when you talk about a property being comparable, and I think Fannie gave an example of you have an old 40-year-old kitchen that's never been updated, and then comp one has brand new granite countertops and new cabinets and everything else, and you're saying these are equal. So talk a little bit about that and how this technology can help solve some of those problems.
Absolutely. That's a really big issue, right, for appraisers to get right and make adjustments when the condition is different, results in overvaluation or undervaluation, but ultimately it could mean a repurchase request for the lender or the AMC, and ultimately, again, back to the appraiser for not having the due diligence to look inside the comparable, look at the condition of the kitchen and the other rooms. It doesn't take long, and I know the majority of appraisers do this religiously. They do it very well. And, it's unfortunate. Every industry has a few that maybe because they're careless, they're in a hurry, or even a very few just want to misrepresent for whatever reason, so that the value gets higher, whatever it is. This technology will identify the condition and the quality of the subject property, but also the comparables used. It actually reads the pictures inside of the appraiser's MLS. So you use 123 Main Street as comp one. It will automatically, the technology, the computer vision automatically identifies each room with a condition score, and then aggregates all of those scores into a number that aligns with the UAD. So C1, C2, C3, like that. When in use, when you see a disconnect as an AMC or a lender, our technology would send back those values, and they could recognize, hey, comp two might be in better condition and there's no adjustment. And those kind of things going forward are going to be caught by your clients and ultimately Fannie Mae, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and it's not going to be a good thing. So having the technology on the front end to help us be more consistent and apply adjustments where they are supposed to be based on the condition is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Just
And
one
so
more tool.
And so this technology you referenced, if we can see it, right? This technology can see it. So if there's a picture there, this technology is recognizing, just like we as human beings recognize that's a window, or that's a door, or that's a countertop, or a hardwood floor. How in the world does it do that? How does it do that, Tony? I mean, I know we don't need to talk about all the ins and outs of this technology, but is it using AI? I mean, how does it do that?
I'm an appraiser, so
Yeah, yeah.
I just know it's really cool, and I know at a high level, if you show the model a picture of a kitchen over and over and over again, pretty soon, just like we learn, we recognize, oh, that's a kitchen, and it can tell these are. I mean, I'm way oversimplifying this. They're very sophisticated. The company is located in Spain, and we have 70 of the most brilliant people there that do this every day. I just understand the applications for evaluation, and I'm a little bit feel like a kid in a candy store because there's all this cool technology, and we can use it here, we can use it there, but all the models are trained, rigorously trained. There's a feedback loop to improve it. It's consistently and continuously getting better, but it's very, very, very reliable today, like in the 98% range. So it's here today. It's not something that's Twilight Zone or Star Wars off in the future. It's right here, right now.
Yeah. So one of the things that appraisers, I just talked to a potential new client. Paul Rill and I are launching some residential offices throughout the country, and we talked to a potential client, and they said, "Do you do hybrid?" And I'm like, "Oh, good question." And that's one thing that a lot of appraisers are really struggling with. They don't like the idea of, I don't know who's going out to that property. Can I trust them? And that's honestly, that's one thing I said. Why can't I hire my own property data collector? But let's just talk about that for a minute. I think one of the biggest frustrations for appraisers are, you're sending somebody out that I don't have control over, right? I don't know them. I don't know that I can trust them. How would this technology make me, or potentially make me, feel better as an appraiser with someone else going out and looking at the property? Is this a tool that could be used for because it sounds like this thing really kind of looks at the property and tells me the characteristics within that property.
That's absolutely correct. So, there's been a lot of conversation, I'll say, about property data collectors. Like maybe they're akin to the Uber driver, they're untrained, blah, blah, blah. This technology really simplifies the role of a data collector, and also improves the accuracy of the information returned and the quality of the information returned to the appraiser dramatically. And what I mean by that is, again, if you can take a picture, you see in my background, I have a picture, I have 3 screens, I have a door. The technology would recognize those same things. So if you see a hardwood floor in the picture, yesterday, or the old way of doing it, the data collector would, from a drop down of enumerations, pick hardwood. Maybe they have fat fingers, maybe they hit vinyl instead, and it comes over, it's inaccurate, and the appraiser gets upset. The new way, tomorrow or today, the data collector would take a picture, the technology would help the data collector auto-populate that form, and with 98% accuracy say, yep, this is hardwood, not carpet, and accurately indicate the right flooring. And it goes on and on. Windows, anything you can imagine, fireplaces, room types, architectural style. It recognizes damage in the houses. Whatever is in a picture can be identified and then auto-populated into the data collection form, if we're talking about PDRs and PDCs or hybrid and desktop appraisals, and given to the appraiser. Same thing with photo quality. Sometimes it's too light, it's too dark, there's a glare. Within a half a second at the site, the data collector will be told, this picture is inadequate, it's too dark, take it over again. And that would eliminate a lot of the issues appraisers have with poor quality photos and not being able to continue with the assignment because of the lack of data.
So if the data collector takes a picture and the technology can't read it, if there's some kind of glitch there, it's going to say, "Hey, I need you to retake this photo right now so that I can read it." Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Within
Wow.
4/100ths of a second, if the data collector puts their finger in front of the lens, it'll tell them immediately, well, almost immediately within a half a second, take that picture over again. And a
That's
lot of
incredible.
times it's just carelessness. You're
Yeah.
going through the property too fast. Yep.
Yeah.
But those are the things that we deal with as appraiser that makes us frustrated with the whole bifurcated process.
100%. So I have a question. I don't want you to answer yet. We're gonna take a small break. I've got some business to take care of, but I'm curious to know: is this technology available for the practicing appraiser? I mean, because if I could, if I could just run through a house and take pictures and it populate the stuff for me, that might make my job a little easier too. Don't answer that yet. I'll come right back to you and we'll get Tony's answer to that question. Is this available for the practicing appraiser? I'm curious to know his answer. I don't know the answer. Since 1978, LI Administrators and Insurance Services has been offering E&O insurance to valuation professionals. LI applies superior customer service, exceptional liability education, and unparalleled claim defense to serve well over 10,000 real estate professionals all over the country. LIA offers commercial bonds, general liability, cyber liability, and so much more. Check out LIA Administrators and Insurance by visiting their website, liability.com, to learn more about how they can protect you and your business. Let's jump back to my friend Tony real quick. All right, Tony, magic question here. If I, as a practicing appraiser, I have offices in Kentucky, Tennessee. Paul is we're teaming up. He's got offices in South Carolina and Colorado. Andy, which people don't know about Andy's teaming up with us to help out too. He's got offices in Tennessee and Kentucky. We're looking at opening offices in Texas, Southern California, Florida, maybe even West Virginia. Don't ask. If we wanted to use this technology for our team of residential appraisers to run through a house, not run through a house, but go through a house, take photographs, and let the AI do a good portion of our job, is that something available to the practicing appraiser?
The short answer is yes, it's available. But in a practical sense, Brian, you would have to have a way of ingesting those photos and then transmitting to the appraiser the results of that. So a platform, an operating platform or somewhere. As an example, if an appraiser uploaded a CSV file of their search of comparables, and then the photos of the subject, we could do that computer vision analysis on the subject property photos and also the comparables, and then begin populating, or you on your side populate the appraisal form for them.
Okay.
About by the end of the year, we'll have a combination of data sources and photos to populate 94% of a PDR or an appraisal, 1004. And imagine having all that data presented, kind of like going to the dentist. The hygienist is in your mouth for 30 minutes doing all the, let's say, typing or heavy lifting and cleaning. Dentist comes in, reviews everything, 2 minutes, and they're done. Who do you think gets paid more in that, proposition? I'd much rather be the dentist that reviews data with accuracy and make sure that it aligns with my methodologies and principles, and I'm the one that's controlling the knobs and determining the final value and doing all the analysis. I think that's the future for appraisers if we embrace technology.
Yeah, and I love your analogy there, Tony. I wrote an article about a dentist, a surgeon, and a head chef many years ago, and it's exactly what you just said, right? It's looking at the highest and best use of the appraiser's time. What's maximally productive? You as the appraiser, and I'm talking to the appraisers out there right now, you picking up the phone and calling to schedule your appointments is not the highest and best use of your time. You're like the dentist that Tony just referred to. So we could have other qualified folks helping us get the job done. We could have a dental hygienist. Let's have several working on several. And then you as the dentist pop in to make sure everything was done correctly. Everything was done in accordance to recognize techniques and procedures, right? So I love that analogy, Tony. Thank you for bringing that up. Who is your client base right now? Who is the lion's share of the clients that RESPI is utilizing?
RESPI, the company, is doing business today in over 35 countries around the world. There's 70 employees, over 70 employees, and primarily the company started in the MLS space. Some of the largest MLS providers are clients, and a lot of the solutions initially were geared towards real estate agents, making their lives and their jobs more productive, easier to do, auto-completing a MLS listing, identifying in the MLS attributes that are visible in photos, and then providing insights of the property. That same technology now is being applied to the valuation space. So we're actively engaging with AMCs, lenders, appraisal companies on a national level. So I think within the next few weeks and months, you'll hear more about new clients. And within the next few months and years, it'll be, I hope, mainstream, and it'll be a part of the appraiser's everyday workflow.
You know, we're in some exciting times. I mean, it's we've come a long way from typing appraisal reports on a typewriter, and it's just interesting to see how the technology continues to unfold. How AI, you know, we talk about Chat GPT a little bit, and just how crazy that is. It can be a little intimidating, it can be a little scary, but it really can help you do your job better. So, Tony, again, thanks for being here. If somebody wants to reach out to you directly and learn more about the company you're working with now, RESPI, what's a good email address, or what's the best way for someone to communicate to Tony Pistilli?
Sure. My email at work is Tony, Tony, at restb, RESTB.ai.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you, my friend, for being here. Always a pleasure to bump into you and talk to you. It sounds like an exciting enterprise, RESPI. I'm going to continue to keep my eyes peeled for new announcements as to what's going on in your space. And again, thank you very much for taking the time out to join us today.
Thank you, Bryan.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Appraisal Update Podcast. Thank you for your time. I hope you're doing well, staying safe, making some money. And until next time, I'm your host, Bryan Reynolds, for my friend Tony Pistilli. Happy appraising.
The Appraisal Update Podcast is brought to you by Appraiser eLearning.